what I want to do is end today on a bit of an optimistic note, because the filmmaker Godfrey Reggio says that we live technology, and I think that's true. If you think about your experience, gentleman there on his mobile phone, we're living with these devices that are really changing the way that we live and experience the world. And you know, I'm 48. I'm glued to my phone like a teenage person. I won't say teenage girl because I'm trying to kind of rethink my political views. I am obsessed with my phone, even at my age. You know, film news, boxing news, sports news. Being a Tottenham fan, there's always some terrible story coming through. And we live technology in such a strange fashion these days that has changed lots of our experiences. The reason why I mention that is because one of the things that we're living through at the moment is cyber catastrophe. You know, have you noticed all of the coverage is catastrophic about how AI is going to take your job, AI is going to put you out of work, it's going to change society. I'm here to be more optimistic than that, because generative AI hasn't just emerged. You know, we've been living through technological change for thousands of years, and it's not that OpenAI or Google have somehow minted some new technology. There's a vast history to the way in which we've arrived at today. There's a vast history to the way in which what I would call the immortal machines have been born. Has anyone heard of Norbert Wiener? Is this a name that's come across you? Well, I came across an interesting guy called Colin Williams, who was like, you do understand that the history of technology goes way back. And in 1948, Norbert Wiener, who's an Austrian cyberneticist, he created the science of cybernetics, which is his idea of learning feedback to enable us to learn how to manage systems. And cybernetics is a really interesting new synthesis, a synthetic science, which says that if you can understand feedback and if you can master feedback, you can make better design decisions. And cybernetics is really at the heart of everything we're seeing these days. We're seeing how machine intelligence, algorithms, and an understanding of complexity within systems can help us better deliver technology. Now, this is my little scene feature. It's on YouTube somewhere. Doing with the courtesy of just clicking on it, which because about 3 people have seen it. But we made a film in 2017 where we were talking about how cybernetics has really been the start of the immortal technologies. And the immortal technologies are obvious: the internet, personal computers, mobile phones, you know, augmented autonomous machines. They're coming through, and they've come through at quite a great rate. You know, I'm of a certain vintage, and I can tell you, you know, growing up in the 80s, growing up now compared to growing up in the 80s is an unbelievably different experience. I think there's some advantages of the 80s, TIS was, and these sort of things, or maybe there's some advantages now. I'm not sure, but it's not an illusion that we're going through an accelerated times. If you look at I don't know how clear you can see that, that is post-war accelerationism. That is changes in levels of literacy. That's changes in level of access to information, all for the positive. These are social changes that have allowed the digital society to really develop and mature and become where we're at. So AI hasn't driven that. That was all prior to the adoption of AI technology. It's all based a lot on cybernetics. But it hasn't resulted necessarily, it hasn't necessarily resulted in the resolution of all issues. And we need to locate technology within a social context to make sure we understand its impact, its utility, and its efficiency. You know, at the moment, you've seen the headlines. AI is going to make, I'm a big film fan, AI is going to make filmmaking redundant. Well, I don't think that a Stanley Kubrick film is going to be eclipsed by Saw at any time soon. You might be music fans. I'm big, you know, Rolling Stones, rock. I don't think a computer has got what Keith Richards has got, but I might be wrong. I'm prepared to be wrong. What I'm trying to really say is these technologies are here to help us, and they are here to resolve some of the issues that we've got. But these technologies also exist in a social context, which is, are people familiar with the idea of Malthusian scarcity? Now, this is an idea that we've got potential in technology, but it has to actually meet the realities of powering AI. So if you look into Malthus, this is an 18th century economist, and he talks a lot about scarcity. So all of the scenarios that speak to the catastrophe of AI, the fact is we have to power AI. The fact is it needs resourcing, it needs chips. Does everyone know where the majority of microchips are produced in the world? I think we probably all know, Taiwan. And what's happening with Taiwan at the moment in the Greater China region? You know, there's a lot of the world impacting the way in which AI could develop. And it's important not to catastrophize. Even if we think about Taiwan, there hasn't been a war there for a long time. Chips are still coming through, and Joe Biden just announced, America's become much more reliant on its own chip production. But these are all factors that are affecting the way that society is accelerating. And we need to be in conversation with our organisations about the impact of AI, not just in a reductive technological sense, but also in the way that it can change the business. Now, I haven't got my label on. I work for Aston Martin. You are the millionth people I've told, probably in this last week. I love working at Aston Martin. It's a fantastic place. Don't mention the Grand Prix, but it is a fantastic place to work, very inspiring. But one of the things about Aston Martin is it's handmade vehicles. And now, the people that buy the cars, any owners in here? I'll apologise if your braking system's not working, but if you're an owner, sorry, but if you're not an owner, one of the things about Aston Martin is it's handmade. If you walk around Ford, if you walk around Volvo, that is all kind of production that is being highly automated. It's really focused on using robotics. That is not what an Aston Martin customer is paying for. So if we said tomorrow, we are automating all aspects of car production at Aston, we probably lose about 50% of our sales. And we don't want to do that. We want more sales. The point really is that as we go for this acceleration, we are able to design and model the technology to serve us better. One of the strange sort of warrants that I get to on my phone, any Reddit subscribers here, I'm probably about 20 years older than the usual Reddit subscriber, but I love Reddit because it's full of conspiracy theories. Now, I don't believe any of them. I'm not a nut job. I'm not here to talk to you about kind of Xenu and all that business. But I will say, I find conspiracy theories fascinating because they tell us something about society. Has anyone heard of the dead internet theory? Has anyone heard of this? This is an idea that in 2014, AI bots took over the internet, and all of the content that we're reading on a daily basis is actually produced by a vast army of bots. Now, I'm not sure that's true, but I find that fascinating, which is all of the content, all of the interaction, and particularly when I'm having engagement. I do a bit of consulting on my sideline, and you get these very friendly, hi Robin, it's Joel from GLG, so they're a consulting firm. And you kind of go, is it really Joel, or is it a bot? And in some respects it doesn't matter, but it does say something to us about our relationship with technology. Am I going to be polite to a robot? I hope so, but not necessarily. Now, I think we need to think through the consequences of our interaction. If you get a chance, dead internet theory is really worth looking into. And it's related to another idea, which is Carlos Rovelli. He talks about how technology is bending time. Now, we haven't got time to go through this now, but if you get 5 minutes on the way home, just Google Carlos Rovelli. What I'm trying to articulate here is that these are profound impacts. These aren't imagined, and they're not kind of necessarily catastrophic. Bending time, if you watch a film like Interstellar or any of these sort of films, it's not the worst thing that we might be able to think through. But the point really here is about potential, and about us mastering the potential of AI. I'm a real bookworm, as you could probably tell. This book, Darwin Amongst the Machines, is fantastic. If you get a copy, if you can pick up a copy, if you're into the sort of history of IT. But what this posited about 15 years ago was this idea of a global intelligence. And this is where we're trying to get to within both the organisation and society, which is how can AI serve us better, and how can it drive us towards an effective acceleration that could really solve a load of social problems. Now, I'm a profoundly selfish man. I want AI to serve me and my business and sell more cars. That's a fairly reductive take, but it's true. But I can see the wider impact of the acceleration of technology, which could be really good for society. And if you get a chance, this book by Dyson, George Dyson, absolutely, that's how much I love it. I can't remember the name of it. I read it a few months ago. Absolutely fantastic. But it does talk about the impact of AI power. And we do need to address the fact that there will be potential for misuse. I've heard some BS, I think, regarding the forthcoming elections, which is it would only take a couple of AI to swing the election for Donald Trump. I'm a politics graduate, and I can tell you that's very unlikely. I don't believe that the impact or the penetration is that deep. But again, this is a social impact, and we're focusing on the negative. There's plenty of positives coming through from AI where we could actually use the machines to drive better decision making. You know, having worked in central government, I don't know if there's people from central government here, you know, having AI tools to deliver better decision making, more quantified benefits, better social policy. These are all things that are really good, and these tap into this philosophy of accelerationism. This is an idea, as we've seen, that we can kind of really use technology to drive improvement in profound ways, in positive ways. Now, quick kind of asterisk on this, has been co-opted by us both right-wing and left-wing nutters. I am not here to articulate for people who want to destroy society through anarcho-capitalism. I'm not really advocating for some sort of CCP-style kind of policy either. What I'm saying to you is organisations are going through an acceleration, and the mindset that needs to be inculcated is an attitude which is technology can drive it and can be mastered. And I'm a profound optimist by nature. My idea is that the technologies that we've got they change lives. And if we are going to take on AI that is going to be focused on problems, we could actually change organisation much for the better. Even as a sort of weary middle-aged man, I can see that this, you know, the insight from McLuhan is really clear that the things that we design, the way in which we think about technology has all improved, you know, as someone trying to get on their Fitbit and trying to get on a fitness tip. You know, many of you will use apps that have improved your health, they may have improved your sleep, they may have improved the decision making. And this is what we do. We take the technology, we master it, and we direct it towards pathways which could be very, very beneficial for society. Now, number one, the first pathway is what's being articulated in the media at the moment, the Matrix-style future, which is AI takes over and destroys us. I can't believe that. I don't believe that you're a battery, and I don't believe that Keanu Reeves is going to save humanity. This isn't really a reality. What I believe is we have to kind of consider the hazards and the problems, and we have to consider that we could also squander the opportunity from AI. If we don't follow the vision of people like Sam Altman, if we let big business co-opt AI for sort of profit generation, that's a problem. So I do think we need a real informed, literate debate around AI and its direction, and we need to master it to make sure that we can tackle all of these problems that are in front of us. You know, going back to Malthus, there isn't an infinite growth paradigm that we can follow, but there is an accelerated growth model that we can follow using AI to help our businesses. You know, longevity health, I'm getting to that age where actually my back hurts, my elbow hurts, blah, blah, blah. Longevity health is starting to become really interesting about the way in which we can tackle causes of death and disruption. AI in health, I think, is one of the most profoundly positive effects of the Gen AI explosion. You know, diagnosing cancers quicker, being able to see problems quicker, giving better, more informed, quicker, rapid responses. This is really positive for all of us in this room, all of whom over 50, 60, 70 years are going to engage with the health economy. So these are positive. And you know, the fact that climate change is there, AI-based big data, deriving better insights, synthesizing new ways of making policy, delivering new solutions. These are positive things for society that can't be kind of eradicated by simply, you know, bombing Taiwan and running out of chips. And if you know the kind of transhumanist movement, we are moving into that stage. The fact is, most of us have our devices and we have a sort of symbiotic relationship with our devices. And if we get a chance again, this design of the way in which the technology can be used is there. It's not that people haven't thought through this. Dr. Vita Mora has written an entire manifesto which is, if we can prioritise and set some clear principles for technology, it can deliver us lots of wide-ranging benefits, from improved health to more equity in society and a better focus on outcomes for everyone. I'm a big believer in something called ethical accelerationism. You know, it gets rid of the kind of far left and far right kind of issues on this. It focuses on how do we direct AI to be better at managing things like energy policy. How do we make sure that generative AI and the dawn of artificial general intelligence could be something that delivers real benefits for us? And there are limits to it. The anthropic principle, if you know of that, it probably posits a few problems for us. This is interesting because this kind of destroys the catastrophist argument. You know, the idea that we could replicate human intelligence is not impossible, but is unlikely in accordance with the anthropic principle. I won't kind of bore you with it now because it's kind of a bit deep, but I would say have a look at that going forward. For me as an individual, and for me working for Aston Martin, these are the key principles and the guiding lights for us in terms of the way we think about AI. And I think this thinking about the future, thinking about the decisions we take, and thinking about the way that we use resources, they're not just key for businesses, they're key for individuals, they're key for society. And that's why I'm an optimist. If we embrace AI as a tool, that is something that we could do to change healthcare, to change social care, to change economics. If we build collaborative systems, we can synthesize differences in policy and deliver multiple improvements in benefits with things like housing stock, with things of decisions around technical allocation of resources. And if we promote more learning, you know, AI as a tool can transform education. It could transform your own career development. It can transform your own interests. So I feel what, you know, there is too much focus on the negative impacts of AI. Now, we don't know the future, but the fact is, if in doubt, go to David Bowie. You know, David Bowie always knew. He predicted the internet 25 years ago. I would say, of course, we don't know how AI is going to pan out, but I'm going to tell you that a futures mindset that is positive, informed, and literate can transform not just your own experience, not just your business, but also society in general. And I'll draw it to a close there.